Kennedy, and we're with OrigamiForPeace.org. What I'm going to show you today is how to fold what's known as a paper crane, aka a peace crane, aka a prayer bird. Now there's the traditional method of folding this, and then there's what I call the modern or the professional way of doing it, which involves less folding but is just a little trickier. Now we'll start out with the large piece of paper here for the traditional method, and any way you want to do it, you generally start this folding down one of the diagonals. But if you'll notice here, I'm folding color side out. We've got this done, it's folded in half. We just want to fold it in half again, like this. Now what you want to do, traditional method, is we open this up and bring it down to the bottom here. Get that all lined up. So now it looks like this. So next, we want to take the flap on the opposite side and do the exact same thing with the traditional method. And this very often ends up being considerably less accurate as far as the folds go than the professional method, where a lot of these unnecessary folds don't happen. But notice we have a crease going down what is going to become the wing. Now for the professional method, the modern method, whatever you want to call it, the way I do it is I start folding down the diagonal, but I fold it inside out. And I do a sharp crease right down the center, and then I open that up and fold it in half on the vertical and horizontal lines. So we've basically got a rectangle folded in half into another rectangle. And all we've done so far is fold the paper in half 3 times. What that lets us do is collapse it into a square base. Notice there's no fold going down the center. With a lot of stuff that gets folded from here, though, you do want to put a fold down the center, but not for the crane. Now the next step for the traditional method is I do some pre-folding, where I take this edge and fold it into the center, and I do that on both sides. Then, once I've got these in place, this right here, where the tops of where the paper stops right here, that's the quarter fold. Get a nice good look at that. Now what we want to do with the quarter fold is we want to fold right on it, just like that. Now, all that pre-folding we undo, so that we have this right here. And now what I can do is take the tip of the paper where it turns into the wings, and I just bring it up like this, and the pre-folding makes it a little easier to get to this step accurately, but with some practice you won't need to do that pre-folding anymore. But since we're getting here the traditional method, I'm going to continue doing those same folds on the other side, on the mirror side of the paper. Fold this down, and now I can bring this up, and the big trick here is to line the tips of the wings up. Now these will fold down. And now we have what is known as the crane base or the bird base. You can literally fold a million different things from this point alone. Now for the professional way of doing it, what I do is, here's the center, or here's the center of the paper, or we would call that the top, and then there's these sides here. If you put an imaginary line from this point to this point, that's halfway, but we're not folding halfway, we're folding a quarter. Now what I can do is I just grab the paper so that the quarter line goes up against my finger, and as I pull this up, the quarter fold does not need to be 100% accurate to get this to work. What you do need to do is tug a little bit between right here and right here, or even push in just to adjust where that quarter fold lands. So now I bring this in, bring it up to the top, and so now I've just created this part of the crane base without any pre-folding. Now I do that on the other side, and the big thing to remember when you're folding up the second wing is get it to line up tip for tip with the first wing that we folded up. And then I just fold all this down, and now we have another crane base. Note that this crane base has no crease going down the wings, where the traditional method, it does have a crease going down the wings. Okay, so now the next thing we want to do is we want to grab these sides here and fold the whole side right into the center. Just like that. Get a nice good look at that. Then what we can do is we just keep folding these flaps into the center. Flip it over. Do the same thing. There we go. Now for the professional method, what I do is I just fold in to the center on one side of the paper, and I make sure to get it clean enough here and here that I won't have to worry about the paper overlapping itself. Just takes practice, that's all. Now I pull up the leg and for this, and then do what's going to become the head, and notice I folded up and folded in the head all in one motion. Now I fold in for the tail just like that, and fold the tail up, and we're almost done there. Now for the traditional method, it usually shows you just fold the legs up like that. And now what you want to do is, especially as a beginner learning how to make these, you want to pick whichever side came out the cleanest, which looks like this side here. And the side that came out the cleanest is the side that we fold down and make into a head. Then, one way of doing this is we can fold one wing down all the way and the other wing down all the way. The only problem is that as I fold thousands and thousands of these guys, as I pull the wing down, sometimes it will inadvertently rip right here or right here. And I found that if you fold both of the wings down at once, you try to multitask folding the wings down, that I have never had it rip doing that. So now that we're almost done, I just tug the wings apart, puffs right out. So there's one. Then, like I said, we want to fold both of the wings down at the same time, just like that. Tug it apart, and there is another finished peace crane. Now, you just gotta fold it a couple at home. You got 998 to go before you